Hi, this is Rich Cooper and you're watching actually Rich Cooper TV. I can't quite believe it. This is a pilot episode for the upcoming COAP Online and the COAP TV station. So obviously there's not a lot of going on in the airshow world at the moment, not a lot of going on in aviation full stop, right? But I thought we'd have a look at what is going on. Now, there's a very unique phenomenon taking place at the moment in that we're all going online, COAP included. So one of the biggest air shows to fall foul of COVID was obviously the Royal International Air Tattoo at Fairford. Now, I know that we're obviously missing a lot of air shows, but this represents a huge hole in the air show calendar, especially here in the UK. Now, the air show itself had a brand new Air Ops director come in January. His name's Peter Reoch. He's very experienced at organising air shows, having come across from Royal Air Force Cosford. And he arrived in January with great plans for his first air show, and then just imagine COVID hits in a couple of weeks' time and the whole event gets cancelled. So I thought this would be a fantastic time to catch up with Peter to learn exactly what's going on behind the scenes and talk to him a little bit about the upcoming virtual air tattoo. Is it just going to be a series of videos online for us to watch? I don't think so. I think we've got a real treat coming on here. And once that's over, then we've got 2021 to kick off as well, which is the 50th anniversary of the show. Incredible stuff. So let's go straight over to Peter now. He's on a Zoom call waiting to talk to us, tell us the brand new updates of the virtual air tattoo. Let's go. All right, Peter, so thanks very much for joining us on this very special episode of the first COAP Online. I'd love to know a little bit about where it all started for you. So you obviously took the reins of RIAT, in January this year? How's the first few months been for you?
The first few months as head of air operations for RIAT wasn't quite as I expected. I expected to, about this time of year, be running around with my head on fire, but actually have real aircraft to look after and an airfield being built at this stage. But unfortunately, as we all know, the world's 2020 was not what we expected. So no, it's been really good. Really, real step up, joining a brilliant team at RIAT. It was kind of my dream job for a few years. So very happy to be here. Just unfortunate about the effects, but I think it makes what we're doing with Virtual Air Tattoo and then RIAT 2021, I think it'll make them a bit more special, 2021 especially, because everyone's had a year to realise how much they miss being at Fairford.
Yeah, I can totally imagine. I mean, one of the things you said to me recently was about how important the team's been for you as well, right? Because you obviously came into that environment, not new to air shows, but new to the air tattoo. But you had such a solid team around you. So tell me how they helped you in those first few months when all of this started to unfold.
Yeah, so I had a great handover from Tom Gibbons, who was my predecessor in the role. And then I've got a team of 2 managers and an administrator, plus some other staff in the Air Ops team, who really, they were steering the ship for when I started teaching me the ropes. So I could come in and kind of focus on the strategic stuff. And they're doing great work. So unfortunately, when we cancelled the show, we had to furlough the team. 90% of the employees of RIAT were furloughed, and then we're slowly being brought back to run Virtual Air Tattoo, which is an exciting thing. But now I'm looking forward to when we get the whole team back and we can all go for a beer together after all this is over. And then
I can imagine.
I think it'll make the success of 2021 when it comes around that bit more sweet, being 2 years in the making, through trials and tribulations.
Excellent. Quite often these things bring you closer together, right, as well, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. So it was a bit awkward time. The day that we publicly announced that RIAT 2020 was cancelled was my 2-month anniversary working for the company. So.
Wow. Right. So what was the actual date of that you came to that decision?
So it was the public announcement on the 20th of March. Kind of Corona had been obviously tracked beforehand, and it became very clear very quickly that was going to have to be the course of action once kind of the government regulations started coming in, and we saw how seriously everyone was going to be affected. I think we were one of the first kind of big shows to cancel,
yes.
And then kind of everyone else just followed. But luckily, when we were telling people, everyone was just very understanding, because it was kind of people almost expected it, and there was nothing we could do about it.
Yeah. So what was it like behind the scenes on that? You must have been personally quite affected by it as well, having been so excited to deliver your first one.
Yeah, all of the staff were really upset because by that stage, there's already months of effort gone into it, and people are
Yeah.
excited for the new stuff that was planned, all the changes, and everyone there takes a massive pride in what they do. So it was really disappointing. It was really heartwarming to see kind of all our customers being so supportive, and then we saw it again with the ticket rollovers. So most people electing to say no, I'll roll my ticket to 2021. Which we're really pleased with because it shows that our customer loyalty is really important. So yeah, it was gutting, but I think the focus of that week was just trying to make sure the cancellation was done in a professional manner, telling all our stakeholders, making sure the appropriate people found out ahead of time, because you wouldn't want the chief of an air force to find out with a Facebook.
No. No, indeed. No, that sounds good. I mean, communication is absolutely key in times like this, isn't it? So, what did you actually do to then start unraveling the event? Because it's all right. There's something very big and exciting coming in place, which you then had to gear up. But you also had to, unravel all of those plans as well. What was that like? Was it complicated? It's never been done before, right?
Yeah, so I think I was lucky so I can only speak for Air Ops department. So we just went about a process of all the participants that we were already communicating with the squadron. We had a set email that went to them to explain the cancellation, the same way we communicated with all the embassies in London to communicate back to their Air Force headquarters that the event was going to be cancelled and why, and the same with all the British diplomats overseas. So we kind of had that three-pronged approach. So we made sure everyone knew that, hey, RIAT this year unfortunately is cancelled, but we kind of tailed that with the good news that we'll be back next year, and it's the S2's 50th anniversary. So any plans that you had, put them on ice for 12 months. And there's a few things like that were either publicly announced for RIAT or things we were working on behind the scenes that we've kind of done our best to maintain the momentum to make them happen next year.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. I mean, yeah, we'll come on to 2021's plans in a moment, but you then had to gear up the next idea. So how did the idea happen? I mean, again, this has never happened before, and certainly on this scale. So did you have a team approach, or was there one person that kind of went, hey, I know what we can do? And how did you develop it all?
So there was kind of an idea from my colleagues in the marketing and PR departments that we knew we needed to do something on the RIAT weekend. So that started to kind of bubble to fruition, and then everyone got furloughed. Because for our team, we'd set this massive kind of project of this is all the projects we want to do. Boring stuff like rewriting of policy documents and all that kind of stuff over the summer. Yeah. And then it was furlough is going to be the path of choice for the company. Obviously, the financial situation with losing of RIAT. Furlough was essential, and then I was brought back. I was just about to move house because I had to relocate to Shropshire.
Why not? Just add that in the mix. Yeah, a bit more stress.
Yeah, down. So I was doing that, and it was about the week before we moved house. Paul, the CEO, rang and said, "Well, actually, I'm going to bring you off furlough, come back to work, and you're going to lead on virtual attitude." Which was quite interesting. So I came back, and also Helen, as head of marketing, came back, and then slowly, as we approached virtual attitude, got a couple more of the staff back. So it's I was kind of handed the embryonic stages of a virtual project of different elements, which was we want to dip our toe in the flight sim virtual airshow world. We want to show a bit of the best of RIAT and something else, and then I got to kind of mould it into basically what would an enthusiast want to see from a 4-hour live stream each day on the S2, and that's where a lot of behind the scenes content has come from. I've kind of gone, well, that's nice, but let's show people behind the scenes of aircraft and military aviation that they won't be able to see without being at RIAT. So those are kind of merged together, and some studio interviews, things like that. So hopefully a really immersive project that weekend that is aimed at giving enthusiasts something to do on the weekend that should all be enjoying Fairford.
The world's first virtual air tattoo.
Rain or shine, right?
Yeah. Well, you've got the choice. You can either sit, if it's sunny, you can sit in the garden, to sit, or you can put the hose pipe on and get that real experience.
Nice.
The cold water running down the back of your raincoat. So people are in control of their own destiny.
Excellent. So it's called Virtual Air Tattoo, and it's held over the Saturday and the Sunday, correct?
Saturday and the Sunday, and both days are going to be totally unique. So it's going to be they've got a live studio set up, and all the content you'll only see the once, so we're not repeating anything.
Okay.
over the weekend. The only element that is on both days is the virtual red arrows, but they're filming. That'll be 2 separate displays. There'll be a display on Saturday, display on Sunday. So and the rest of the program is unique to each day.
Amazing. So how are people going to be watching it? How are they going to be tuning in?
So it's going to be broadcast on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So if you go to air2.com/virtual, the links will all be on there, and then it'll pop up on the social medias on each day with the live stream. We're going to have the kind of a studio set up, so we'll have some live hosts in the studio, so people will be able to interact in. So when we've got people in for interviews, people who are able to, if they're watching on Facebook, put a quick Facebook comment on, and we'll have a team monitoring that to then, ask the questions to the interviewees. So we've got a fair few pilots coming in, some characters from Air to 2 history, a few other things that people will find interesting across our aviation enthusiast community. So yeah, the interaction element and hopefully some competitions as well.
Great. So the format's going to be a studio with guests coming in and out, that kind of thing. Is there lots of display teams going to kind of show up and talk through what they would have been doing? What's the content of the actual day like?
So the content kind of falls into 3 parts. So the first part is the virtual displays, and this is the kind of real groundbreaking stuff. So for a while, there's been groups of people, enthusiasts who fly replicating aerobatic display teams or solo displays on a DCS, Digital Combat Simulator.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
a huge
world
market,
itself.
isn't it? It's massive.
So we've got some of those teams coming in. So the virtual reds, as I mentioned, and 3 or 4 other large display teams and a few solo teams. What we've tried to do is have them spread across the 2 days. So there's that element, and when we've got the footage from them, so it's Ben Donnell is one of the our presenters,
of course,
the commentator. So he'll be commentating on the virtual display as he would at RIAT. Virtual air shows have built a RIAT scenery for us in DCS. So it's really impressive. So it's got the kind of the iconic hangar backdrop with all the spots and banners on. We've got the taxi, we've got the RIAT stand in the scenery and things like that.
Can you taste the burgers as well? I mean, is there going to be that?
Yeah. Got to cook them for yourselves to enjoy the weekend. So we've got that element. Other flying display material is some of the best of the last few years at RIAT. So Planes TV are our excellent provider. So think of the highlights of the RIATs in the last few years. They'll probably be in the program. So your MiG-21s, your Harriers, and things like that. So we'll have that footage. And then the third element is the behind-the-scenes footage. So a lot of the air arms that were meant to be sending aircraft to Fairford have sent video clips instead. So some of the aircraft we were meant to see, and you're going to see short video clips of people on the unit kind of giving you a quick tour of the aircraft.
That's great. Really nice.
And also then there's some kind of more in-depth features. So you might have seen there's a trailer went out earlier this week. Myself and John went flying on a Voyager, so we've got a behind-the-scenes look on flying on the Voyager. What happens on an air refueling sortie and how it's done with interviews with the crew, etc.
We're on board an RAF Voyager over the North Sea, and you can see behind the scenes of this air-to-air refueling sortie on the 18th and 19th of July at the Virtual Air Tattoo.
We've got some of those kind of features, and we've got another feature coming from HMS Queen Elizabeth about escalating from the flight deck. Unfortunately, I didn't flag myself onto that trip, which is a shame. But yeah, that's some really cool footage there of the F-35s on the carrier, and a few other bits and bobs we're still working on to kind of give that behind-the-scenes element of interesting aircraft. So yeah, hopefully all together with the studio competitions and whatnot, it should be a really good. It's not just recycled videos from previous RIAT displays. It is going to be hopefully a genuinely really interesting 4 hours in each day, and we're hoping that people kind of sit there, enjoy it, and interact with it for the 4 hours to get all the snippets that they want to see.
That's fantastic. I love the way it's so tailored as well. That this isn't, as you say, rehashing old stuff. It's new stuff being done, and it's tailored to the airfield even. That's a really cool setup. As you say, very entertaining indeed. Do you think this could be the future of other, and not to replace any other air shows, but there's a lot of dynamic footage and interaction happening there, isn't there, as a result? Do you think it could be a spin-off project in the future for you guys?
I think so, potentially. You've got to look at what's happening. More and more of the world's going online. I don't think anything beats or replicates the feeling of actually
No.
being at an air show with,
Absolutely.
watching an F-16 on a video is nice, but feeling the afterburners in your chest is something else. So I think it's a supplementary product. RIAT already had the live stream where people had the pay-per-view to watch what was going on, and a lot of that was international customers that couldn't come to the show. So I think we might just be enhancing that product to give them the behind-the-scenes content. But who knows the world, how the world's going to change in the next few years with more and more digital stuff. So.
No, that's excellent, Peter. Good stuff. So how's it shaping up right now?
Good. We're getting there slowly. So at the time of recording, what, we're 3 weeks to run.
Yep.
So we're just getting the last of the kind of content in. So the Royal Air Force have been a really good partner for us on this. So they're generating tons of new unseen content.
Oh,
That's
nice.
That's tours of pretty much everything in the RAF inventory, a behind the scenes look. We're filming missions with people. We've got in-depth look at new aircraft such as Poseidon, which will be really interesting. A couple of secret projects we're working on that hopefully, if they all come good, we'll be able to do some exclusive reveals on that weekend.
Excellent.
So touch wood, all those work out. So yeah, it's all coming together nicely. It's just got that challenge of scheduling all together so it all kind of flows and makes sense to make it a really entertaining. We don't just want it to be a mishmash of videos. It's got to all flow and make sense and give lots of time for that interaction in the studio with people as well.
That sounds incredible. What an amazing project to come out the ashes of all of this. It's brilliant. So what are you most looking forward to?
I think some of the kind of exciting stuff is we've got air arms around the world that wouldn't usually be able to send aircraft to Fairfield.
Nice.
They've been really keen to participate, because initially we kept it to kind of because we didn't want to be overwhelmed with stuff and not be able to fit everything in. We kept it to kind of core supporters, and actually now we've had the chance to go out. So we've got a couple of nations who are sending video clips of their aircraft that have never actually participated in RIAT. And my personal hope is we can then keep those relationships going. And if, in 2021 or 2022, 2023, if that then turns into eventually they can send an aircraft for the first time, it's worth all the effort, in my opinion. That's what we want ultimately is the Air Forces to engage with us, have a good time. Even if it takes a few years to get another nation to debut at the altitude, to give another exotic aircraft type, win-win for everyone.
Sure. No, that sounds awesome. I'm very impressed. I mean, I knew a lot about it anyway, but hearing how different it all is and how tailored it all is, and how, quite frankly, how exciting it all is to bring such a new, different, dynamic air show to our screens is remarkable. So although it may not have started quite how you wanted it to go, to be able to deliver something like this with the team, of course, is going to be very special for you indeed. But now, as good as that all sounds, we obviously want our air shows back. Naturally, so 2021 is going to be huge, right? It's going to be enormous. So, what can you say about 2021 at the moment?
So we'd already started. One of the first things that when I joined, they were just forming the kind of the steering group to plan 2021 and the 50th anniversary alongside RIAT 20. So I got myself on that group naturally, and we'd already had a few meetings about the plans for the anniversary before Corona happened. So we're looking at that now. Just to see how that's done and developed. But there is a big push to make sure that RIAT 2021 is a worthy anniversary event to celebrate 50 years of air-to-air.
Wow, 50 years, incredible.
So yes, we're looking at I've looked at what aircraft were there in 1971 at the first show.
Yep.
How can we get either those aircraft or representatives of those aircraft? Then, what have been RIAT highlights or adds to our highlights over the last 50 years? Some of them, obviously, aren't repeatable with geopolitics as they are. I'd love to get Russian bears back or something like that, but I don't think that's going to happen for next year, unfortunately. But yeah, we're looking at that and how we make the show as special as possible. But I think in reality, everyone will just be so excited to get back to Fairfield. Certainly, I am, the permanent staff are, and all the volunteers as well that are really keen to get back to RIAT. So I think there'll be a special atmosphere for 2021.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I've actually got virtual goosebumps thinking about that. Bring it on. It's going to be amazing.
The time that we're kind of living in for now for the next few years is going to be a lot of change in military aviation as kind of modern platforms come in. So I think, an unintended nicety might be 2021 will offer the last chance to see a lot of aircraft types. As we see, things such as the F-16 that have become kind of a staple.
Yeah,
In the
that's
next
a
few
good point.
years, there's a lot of air forces going to be getting retiring them, replacing the F-35. Other things such as Hercules fleets from across Europe being replaced with A400M, and a few other examples. So I think I think as much as anything, Corona has almost reminded me and others that, you know, appreciate stuff while you've got it, and we'll follow that mentality. So once we get the show back next year, you know, it might be the last time you see, you know, a Norwegian F-16, for example, because they've already got a ton of F-35s in service, of which we've got really nice content in the program.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. And, you know, we have to take these opportunities. We have to be grateful for everything. And I think this situation is certainly underlined that fact, hasn't it? You know, just not to take anything for granted ever again. So, yeah, we very much look forward to seeing what you come up with this July, but also next July as well. So, Peter, thank you very much for your time today. It's been really enlightening. Thank you.
No worries. Good to see you, Rich.
Cheers for now.
Bye.
Wow, what an insight Peter gave us there. So thank you very much to Peter Reoch of the RIAT Air Ops team at Douglas Barnett House. They should really be congratulated for providing us with something this July. It's a big hole in the airshow calendar, and I'll tell you, they're doing their best to fill it. I actually think it's going to be pretty good. You know, they're not just hashing together old videos and finding anyone they can interview. There's some real thought gone into it, and it's going to be a fantastic, dynamic, interactive experience for the whole family. Indeed, the events are 18th and 19th of July, and you know what? My wife's birthday is on the 19th of July, so that's my entertainment for the day sorted. It's going to be an awesome occasion, and I know she can't wait. So yeah, bring that on. And you can find out everything about it at airtattoo.com/virtual. Now that's not all. Obviously 2021 looks awesome. 50th anniversary of the Air Tattoo. As if 2021 wasn't going to be exciting enough anyway. You've got that amazing event to look forward to. And again, we'll keep you up to date all the way through that. So thank you all for watching. It's been a real great privilege to be able to deliver this pilot episode of COAP TV to you. Enjoy. See you on the next one.